guys, and welcome back to the Play on Ultra podcast, episode 38. Sadly, once again, Shar cannot join us, but we are returned with Jordy, so that's awesome.
I'm back.
Sweet, welcome back. I guess we'll start off with the week thing, like usual. Boring old routine stuff.
Yeah.
My Skype has Nathan on top, so we'll start with you.
Mostly League of Legends, to be honest with you.
Are you close to doing your goal?
Gold 2 at the minute, so I'm close to platinum.
Oh, you're moving.
Yeah, just kind of retards in it. I've been playing Ark, but we've made our own server now because on the server it was on, 4 weeks worth of work just got destroyed. So we're all pretty mixed up about that.
Wait, well, how did it get destroyed? Because the server you were on shut down?
No, the biggest tribe on the server just went on a rampage and like purged everyone.
PvP, I see.
So apparently one of the dudes in one of the reason it started is because the dude, the big tribe was called Bagnar, and one of the big dudes, he was having a bad day apparently. He was pretty angry, and he just went and destroyed our base with a massive giga. So I was like, probably never playing that game again. But then Jake was like, I'll start our own server and we can just do that. I was like, all right, fair enough. What else have I been playing? And now I've been playing something else. Been playing a bit of Hearthstone. Mm-hmm. Just when I can't be asked to play anything else. Just nice and easy thing to play.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's something else. But it must be just those three things. Yeah. But I was saying I am looking forward to play Stardew Valley. Is a game I'm looking forward to playing. Harvest Moon clone, by the looks of it. I am playing that as soon as we wrap up here. That is the first thing I'm doing. Because
you said that last week about Frog Fractions, and I don't think you did that.
Oh, shit.
Frog Fractions.
I need to play Frog Fractions. Because I have played Frog Fractions before, but
okay.
I thought it was
you don't remember.
No, I just thought it was a silly game about eating flies.
Yeah. That's
what but when you said last week that there was something happens, I was like, did I miss something?
Yes. I don't know how to describe. I can't talk about that spoiling it, but that's the point. You get bored of the boring fly math game, whatever it is, and I don't know. Apparently, you probably just closed the browser.
I did,
but there's a different way to stop playing.
Oh, okay. Oh, fair enough.
Yeah,
I will do that as soon as this podcast's over, and then
it's a race condition.
And then I'll play Stardew Valley because
got it.
And then at some point Firewatch because I really need to play that game. And it's the same problem I was saying last week. I need to just play it in a big chunk, and I need to find 3 hours where I'm not bothered by anyone asking me to play 500 different games.
It's very hard to do that.
Like, do you want to play Ark? No, I want to play Firewatch. Do you want to play LOL?
Well, I will almost always choose a multiplayer experience over a single-player experience.
Same
here, especially if it's my friends who are asking me to do stuff.
Although when you don't have like really anyone else to play anything, that's when those single-player experiences really do come in handy.
Totally, because a lot of the multiplayer games you can't essentially play single-player. They're just not worthwhile to play with random people.
A lot of them
no.
To play by yourself. Like, for example, I could not play that by myself. There's no way.
No.
Myself, no. Same with Rust and any game like that. No.
Yeah.
Even Minecraft is boring as fuck to play by yourself.
That's kind of a problem I have with a lot of like Skyrim. Any game where you can sink a lot of time into it, I generally want it to have an MMO component, so I have somebody to show it to potentially. Because even when I play MMOs, I generally kind of play it single-playerly, but I can still interact with players when I want to, and so having like that achievement to show off. Like when it's just for myself, I don't know, I have a hard time getting as invested in it.
Yeah. You want someone to praise your thing that no one else really cares about, and it's like on Minecraft when you're like, look at this village I built, and everyone's like, I don't give a fuck. You're like, no, but look at it. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Fuck you and your village. But I need to play Firewatch. I've been wanting to play it for a long time. Still haven't got my Overwatch beta because seriously, I'm gonna keep saying this. Fuck Blizzard. I'm fucking tired of this shit. I just want to play fucking Overwatch.
Yeah, same here. I don't understand like why their beta is being so selective.
Yeah.
Like it's not really like them.
Well, I think the general consensus is that for one, servers, apparently the servers aren't big enough for an open beta, which I don't know whether it's true or not.
Just take one of the WoW servers that no one's using.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
And also, I think they're actually wanting to treat it like a proper beta. Well, I think they're wanting to get feedback.
How novel.
They're going to have to also do betas for the consoles, no? Because there's those versions too that are coming out.
I would imagine so.
I imagine so, yeah. But I think they actually want to do. But I think they want to do a proper beta, not an open beta where it's just like trying to get hype about it. I think they're wanting to genuinely get feedback.
That's fine, I guess. But do you think like they're actually like doing a rotation, or do you think it's like just the same fucks always getting the beta?
No, it's not a rotation. They're incrementally adding more and more people into the beta. They're not actually.
So pretty much, if you got in beta, you're still playing the beta. You're not.
Yeah, you will never lose beta. You will never lose beta.
Got it.
It's that they just incrementally. That's why they call it waves, because they're adding waves and waves of people in to the beta.
It's sad too, because that's the only Blizzard game. Well, that and Hearthstone that people really want to be playing right now.
Yeah, no one wants to play Heroes of the fucking Storm. Jesus Christ.
No, and World of Warcraft is at a huge stalling point right now because it has no new content. And then there's Diablo 3, which, let's be honest, no one really gives a fuck about anymore. So
Diablo 3, I never gave a fuck about Diablo 3 in the first place.
I know, but there are some people who enjoyed it. So
I have a couple friends who are still play it a fair amount, but I don't know.
Yeah, because of the seasons change and all that stuff. But
I can't stand dungeon crawlers. They just do me head in.
Again, it comes into multi. I'd never play it solo, but I'd play it if enough people I wanted to play with are playing it.
Dungeon crawlers, I just can't play.
I don't know. It's weird. Like when it came to Diablo 1 and 2 were just really enjoyable. But when I played
2 was great. Yeah, I liked
3.
3.
I just couldn't. I don't know.
3 bored me to tears. Maybe it's just because I'm a different guy. Maybe I don't even. If I played Diablo 2 now, I won't like it. I kind of like it if I first played it.
Yeah.
But, I've been watching the LCS a lot. Loving the LCS at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
The NA LCS more so than the EU LCS at the minute. Because everyone from EU moved to North America.
That's dumb.
Why is that?
I wonder why.
Money, I guess? I don't know.
I think it was the format change that they're talking about that everyone was very happy with.
Oh, yeah, you were telling us about that before. That's right.
I don't know if that's actually gone through or not, I don't know. What I do know is that Fnatic, who were one of the best teams in the world last season, Reignover and Huni moved to America. Yellow Star moved to America. They just shit. Reckless, I think, was the only person who stayed, which kind of sucks. So, Immortals are like 12-0 at the minute. They haven't lost a season in the NASAS.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
Have you played League today?
Yes.
What the hell was with that friggin' logging queue bullshit? Did you see that?
Oh.
Well, there was I've been having a couple of problems with League since 6.4 came out. So when it first came out, I tried to get into a game, and something happened called a ghost game. I don't know if anyone knows.
No, I haven't heard of that.
Right, a ghost game is when you disconnect from a game and it has the reconnect button?
Yeah.
It shows up with that, but it wants you to reconnect to a game that doesn't exist. So basically, what was
stuck in limbo.
Yeah, while everyone was in Champ Select, the timer went down to 0, but then everyone was stuck in lobby. Everyone could talk to each other, but the game would never start.
Yeah.
And then when you closed the game down and opened it again, the reconnect button, you just couldn't press it, so you just couldn't play the game. And that was for a day.
Oh, jeez.
That's fucked.
Yep.
And then there's this thing today, like it was like there's like long queue times for like
Mine
everybody.
wasn't.
When I tried logging on today after like work, it was like 3 hours. You know, like when you have the login thing and it has
Yeah.
like you're in position, blah blah blah, and the timer goes down. It wasn't moving at all. Like
I was in
it was
position. I was in the position 3,000. It took me 20 seconds to get in.
yeah, see, that's fucked. I don't know if it was just our servers, but I was like, are we getting DDoS or something? Because no one can get in. Like,
Fuck it, it's about time that NA fucking got
yeah,
bitched and everyone else didn't.
yeah.
The amount of fucking campaigning Riot do for the NA scene above everyone else is fucking absurd. Riot are champs at making NA look way better than it actually is. Like, it annoys the fuck out of me. It really does. The amount that I'm not kidding, though. You'd be surprised with what kind of shit Riot do to try and put NA ahead of everyone else.
You mean like teams from NA, or like what do you mean?
Pretty much everything.
It's probably where they make their most money. To be fair,
especially
they're based in LA, right?
Yeah, especially in the pro scene. In the pro scene, they in the past have been accused of basically giving NA an unfair advantage above the other scenes.
Wow.
I don't know whether it's true. Yeah, it's definitely true, but I don't know whether. That's not it. Riot you'd be really probably not surprised by some of the shit Riot do. They're the most disgusting company, like in terms of games.
I hear they're
But put it
not
this way,
innocent.
so they do the LCS obviously, which is if you include the spring and summer LCS, that's like 6 months of league, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they don't. If you haven't noticed, the only real tournament that LoL have outside of the LCS and Worlds is IEM. IEM is normally in January. There's not really a lot of, outside third-party tournaments for LoL, and that's for a very specific reason. Most games, like Valve, go to ESL, WCG, and all these companies and go, would you like to run Dota events or CSGO events? And they go, sure, and they sort everything out. See, Riot didn't do that. They went to like ESL and went, do you want to run LoL events? And they were like, yeah, sure, we'd love to. And they were like, yeah, but you're not allowed to run Dota events if you run LoL events. And they're like, well, no. They've been very loyal to us. We do good work with Valve. We're not going to do that. And they're like, well, we're not going to allow you to run League of Legends stuff on for like third party tournaments then. And they're like, well, I guess okay. See you in a bit. Like, there's nothing really going to do about it.
There's no negotiating with that.
It's because Riot really want to corner the MOBA market, knowing full well that LoL wouldn't exist without Dota. Like, without Dota, LoL wouldn't be a thing. Like, and all those people that go, maybe it would. No, it wouldn't. Dota's the reason that LoL exists.
Yeah,
it is. Everyone needs to admit that.
It's just the underhand. If anyone wants to know what Riot do, right? I don't like to say it because I love LoL. It's a great game, but people need to know what kind of company Riot are. Go and read some of the stuff that Richard Lewis writes about, and you'd be fucking blown away by some of the shit that company does. Like, he's on the Unfiltered podcast with Destiny and Chenman V, and he talks about he talks about Riot every week because he loves bitching about them. And every week there's something new that Riot's done that they've tried to cover up. They do this thing as well where they throw employees under the bus to save face. Yeah. So whenever they do something that doesn't go down well with the community,
they cut off the line.
A random Riot employee goes on Twitter and says it was their idea and it was nothing to do with the Riot superiors.
Yeah.
So basically they've told this guy, go and say this thing. And
that's interesting.
We need you to sacrifice yourself.
Exactly.
It's funny because CCP, the company that makes Eve, is hemorrhaging employees who are leaving for Riot. And CCP's not exactly got a clean record for its behavior either.
Oh, really? Wow.
What is it with these companies? Because Valve do fine, and they're about as integral as you can. They've got about as clean integrity as you can come by in a major company.
I mean, they're definitely one of the better ones, but I don't think they're definitely innocent either.
Oh no, no. certainly not. But I'm saying, as far as large game companies
relatively,
they're one of the cleanest you're going to find.
Definitely not one that's in the news too much.
I haven't
in a negative way.
Most of their stuff is just like.
Most of the negative stuff's the way Steam works, like the refund system,
that kind of
green
stuff.
light being dumb or something.
You've
like
never
that.
actually tried to actively fuck over other companies. You don't really.
No.
I've never really heard of Valve doing anything like that, and their customer service is wank. I know.
Yeah, we all know that.
but their products are pretty good. Mm-hmm. I hate saying that the customer service of Valve is bad. I think that the time in which they take to solve things is really fast. It's actually addressing the issue that Valve are really bad at. So if you've had, there was a thing last month where Steam had a problem where you could basically go on someone's profile page.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a few weeks ago,
that was fixed in a day, maximum, sorry. It was fixed really fast, but then everyone was moaning because they weren't being told anything about it. Valve are really bad at going onto social media and saying, look, this is what's happening. But they just really good at fixing stuff.
This will be relevant for a topic later today, but it seems like a lot of video game related companies don't understand necessarily how important transparency is.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
it bites them in the ass.
Because I think that is interesting, because Valve do fix things really fast, but because they're so poor at communicating with their user base, they get this poor look, like people then
it gets spun by other people.
Yeah,
you see it in the worst light.
People then start saying they've got terrible customer service, even though whenever I've handled with Valve customer service in the past, it's been relatively painless and pretty fast. And most of the problems in terms of Steam API and all the problems I've had with Steam and the refund policy, they've fixed pretty fast in terms of, fixing stuff like that. It's just they're so bad at just talking to people and saying, this is what's happening. Just so we'd let you know. You just don't do that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why they get this poor. But in terms of their product, Valve's product is insane. It's so good. CSGO and Dota being two of the best, most popular esports on the planet. But yeah, I don't know. Okay. Riot just kind of sucks.
That sums up your week.
Yeah,
Riot. It just kind of sucks.
It just kind of sucks.
This is my week. This is definitely. Hey, we are the kings of tangents. Let's say.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's true.
Absolutely. How was your week, Jordan?
Pretty good. The new patch for Final Fantasy dropped, so I did all that. Yeah, so there's more storyline, 2 new dungeons, a new trial, and a new part of the raid. More Alexander, but it's harder.
What's it called?
Alexander Midas.
That's the one.
Yeah. All I think of is Worf's son, Alexander.
These
Kupos have no honor.
There's a game that's coming out that my friend's been talking about that I think you might like, or you probably know about it. It's on the 3DS, I think. It's called Bravely Second.
Yeah, it's the sequel to Bravely Default.
Yes, he's been going on about it constantly.
It's a really good game. It plays like the old style type Final Fantasies where you take turns, but you can speed up the battles and stuff, and you can actually turn down random battle generation. You can actually go through a whole story with bare minimum, but then you can turn it on and actually get a lot of battles and farm as much as you want. But the story's really good.
I'm assuming you're getting it.
Oh yeah, I played the first one, I've beaten it, and it's really good for a 3DS title. And Square. That's not Final Fantasy, but it has Final Fantasy elements.
It says it was a lot like the old top-down.
It is. That people say it reminded them of Final Fantasy 5 or 3 because of the job systems and all that stuff. Because you can switch your character's main job roles and tweak it as too.
One of my favorite FFs was Tactics.
I really like Tactics Advanced.
I've been playing Tactics Advanced. I actually have a video coming up tomorrow. That game I had for the Game Boy Advance when it first came out. That game has aged very well for when it came out. And it's really cool that they used a lot of assets from Final Fantasy 12, which is a very underrated Final Fantasy.
Is that the one that's kind of like an RTS?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been playing that. I remember it being very hard, so we'll see if it's still hard. It's hard for a kid's game anyways when it came out. So I've been playing...
Some of the cross-classing can be pretty broken in it.
Yeah, like the one thing I forgot about Tactics Advance had compared to the old Tactics was the combo system, where you build up combo points and you can actually do combos with specific classes. So that was always a cool mechanic. So I'm really excited to actually beat this game again.
You say that whole kid thing, right? But have you never played any games that you played as a child and went, "How did I do this?"
And this is it. This is like Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Like when people say it, like, "Oh, that's just a little kid's game." Like the story is very like childish and kid-like, but that game was hard as balls. I remember at some points where I think I saved at like a bad place, and it's like, well, I just have to get lucky because I just fucked myself.
I forgot you could quick save.
Yeah, I can remember playing like a PS1 game as a kid, loving it, finish it real easy, and then go back and playing it as like I'm 18. I'm like, how did I do this?
Yeah.
What? Was I a genius and I've lost brain cells? What's going on? I don't understand.
I think it's going to be like the opposite for this game. I think it's still going to be a bit challenging because I remember some of the boss fights being very unforgiving. Like, I don't know if you guys ever played Tactics, like the original for PS1, but
I played Tactics Ogre.
Okay, so
I played Final Fantasy Tactics.
I don't know, in Tactics Ogre, they had like in some battle scenarios where you only had your one character against like a bunch of them. Yeah, well, Tactics Advance was fucking notorious for having your main character against like, say, like a really hard boss or a couple of guys.
That's why he always gets all the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So you gotta power level him as much as you can. Make sure he has all the healing items that you can have. Because I remember the final boss in Tactics Advance like kicking my ass all the time. But it's a great game, like for Game Boy Advance.
I remember hearing. So there's 300 quests in Tactics Advance.
Yes, there's a lot.
And I guess if you progress past the story, you're not going to get some of them, because I did 298 of them. I could never get the last two. And I remember reading, I don't know if it's true, I remember reading, if you do all 300, Sid joins your team.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think there was something like that before. Sid was, he was one of the judges, I think.
He's in Advance, he's the head judge.
Yeah, because I remember he actually joins you on your side at the end of the game because he realizes that the world is not right.
It's like an NPC.
Yeah, he's originally an NPC, but then he joins your party, but you don't get to control him. But yeah, I think you're right. I think if you complete the full game 100%, he actually is a playable character.
That would be cool.
You did 298. Why? Just
that game is so much fun. Like
I know, I get
that harder stuff.
But I've always been terrible at 100% in. I'm just not good at it. I just get bored way too easily.
With handheld games, it's easy just to whip it open and grind a little bit. So it's just a few minutes here, a few minutes there in the car.
Yeah. Do you know, like playing PC for now on 15, 16 years now, I find it really hard to play handheld games and stuff. It hurts my hands a lot.
I haven't played one in a long time.
I used to have this problem where PS3 controllers, I have quite small hands. So PS3 controllers were perfect for me. And Xbox controllers were way too big. I find it uncomfortable to play on the big controllers. But now, because I've been playing on the PC so long and my wrists are gonna be fucked in 5 minutes.
Yeah, we all know.
Playing on the Xbox controller is the only controller I can use now because it's big and it doesn't hurt my wrists a lot. So playing on like DSs and stuff where you have to, it hurts my hands.
Playing Mario Kart on the 3DS actually did hurt my hands. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm more tense when I play Mario Kart. But I found like the top trigger buttons with the circle pad in a racing game dug into my hand. It wasn't comfortable. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, game has never been comfortable though.
Sometimes when I'm playing Final Fantasy 14, like after a while, I'll use the controller, especially if I'm playing my healer, because I can heal with the controller on an MMO. But yeah, sometimes a keyboard and mouse that fucking kills your hands, right? And we all know we're gonna pay for that later.
When I turn 26-ish, my wrists are gone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get carpal tunnel so early in my life.
Oh yeah.
I need to get like those like beanbag wrist rests.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've seen those. I was thinking about getting them.
Because I used to play CS:GO, obviously, on a semi-professional level. I actually learned how to hold my. So it probably maybe not go so early. Yeah. Whenever I play any game, I always keep my wrist at a nice height, and I've got a chair that actually supports my wrist very well.
I need to buy a new chair.
I'm getting a Maxnomic chair eventually. Do you know
Maxnomic.
that? Jordan, you watch LCS, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the chairs that they're sitting on?
Oh, guys? Oh, yeah, those are nice chairs.
No, the players.
Okay.
Do you know on the stage you can see it? They've got the two holes in the headrest. It's got Maxnomic written across it. It's one of those chairs. They cost about $300.
$300, yeah.
That's not too bad at all. That's very reasonable.
If it's like high quality
for a big office chair, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking to get.
Here they go between $2 and $350.
Yeah, I'm looking to get one of those because they're fucking amazing, apparently.
So yeah, Final Fantasy. I wanted to play Fire Emblem Conquest, but everywhere it's sold out, and I don't want to buy a digital copy. So
why not?
I really hate digital stuff with Nintendo. I'd rather just have the physical copy.
This will also possibly have relevance to a later topic point today.
Okay, good.
Isn't Pokemon's coming out on the eStore?
Yes, the original versions are coming out, red, blue, and yellow. So, and it's actually coming out with a new 3DS that has them already preloaded.
They're 20 years old today, right? Blue and red.
Yeah,
I think that's 20. Why they're coming out. I think that's why.
And with that, Pokemon Sun and Moon version are coming out this year for their 20th anniversary.
That was the big news today.
I don't have a 3DS. I don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
If there's one game I won't ever miss for handhelds from Nintendo, it's definitely Pokemon. Those games, they're just good things to play in front of the TV.
Finished the last two I got.
But I wish there was a 3DS emulator. At least I could play them.
Black and Pearl. Black 1 and Pearl.
Okay.
Or is it Diamond? I think I got Diamond and White. I don't remember that generation anyway.
Yeah, the last one for the original DS was Black and White 2. Okay, and there was Black and White before that. And then Diamond and Pearl. Yeah, the most current versions are X and Y. Which I'm surprised, because I thought they were going to make a Z version. They usually make like a type of director's cut. But there hasn't been.
Oh yeah, like Ruby, Sapphire, and then Emerald.
And Emerald, yeah, and which was what I thought they were going to do for the Alpha, Sapphire, and Omega Ruby.
And there was Gold, Silver, and Crystal, right?
Yeah, there's Gold, Silver.
Oh,
yeah,
and then Crystal, yeah.
Blue, Red, Yellow.
Oh, Gold and Silver were my favorite Pokemon games.
Yeah, a lot of people liked Gold and Silver.
I agree.
Those were great. It was like that generation right after the original.
Yeah. Everything was new. You weren't so jaded yet.
Yeah.
Still stuff to discover.
I just wish there was an emulator out for 3DS and then I could play them.
Nintendo goes out of its way to make their hardware super
hard to emulate. Yeah.
I can remember
20 years.
I can remember being in school. So when I was a kid, I used to play Pokemon a lot. But then we downloaded. I used to take my laptop to school, and during my breaks, I'd have an emulator on my laptop, and I used to load up blue or red, and I'd put it on 2,000 times speed.
Oh yeah, just so you plow right through the whole game real fast. Yeah.
Yeah. So just in my 2-hour breaks, I'd just be like.
Yeah. The character would be moving so fast, it was so hard to control.
Exactly, and then just enter, just killing
everything real fast.
In the first area where you get a Pidgey and stuff, I got Pidgey up to 30 just by fighting level 3s.
Yeah,
it was brilliant. Yeah. But it's sad that they're my fondest memories of Pokemon. I mean, because I think that Pokemon's really it was an interesting. Now it's just dead and been stamped on, and it's just overdone.
It's also been super solved since the internet. All the stats are mapped out. Yeah. Everything's been.
You used to have genuine skill.
Figured out.
You used to have genuine
skill. The
skill.
real thing about Pokemon now is it's all about the competitive scene. It's not really about storyline. It's all about these people going to tournaments and actually.
Which is kind of cool because it's a bit like real life version of the Pokemon.
Exactly. That's as close as you're going to get to real life Pokemon.
They did that thing, didn't they, a while back, where they did like a real life Pokemon kind of thing. Where they did it in certain cities in like America, I believe, and stuff. Basically, it was like, do you like scavenger hunts? Mm-hmm. Basically, certain locations,
like a GPS,
GPS type thing. Certain locations would have certain Pokemons and stuff.
Well, that's what Pokemon Go is supposed to be, right?
That's where they got the idea from.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, no, the original thing wasn't Pokemon, but it inspired Pokemon Go. That's what it was. But Pokemon Go was. I still don't know how that kind of works.
It's like what you said. It's a GPS thing. So only in certain areas, like where you live, is where the Pokemon are going to be on your phone. It's going to be weird the way that I've seen it, but there's a lot of stuff that's going on for Pokemon this year, which makes sense. It's 20 years old now. There's the new versions coming up for the 3DS. There's Pokemon Go, which is supposed to go live this year, and there's Pokken, which is the Tekken tournament fighting game.
But all Pokemon.
Pokemon, and it actually looks really good, like the comboing system. Yeah, it has like all variants. Like there's like Pikachu, Machamp, Charizard, Lucario.
I would be actually okay if it was all fighting Pokemon.
Yeah, well, a majority of them are
people would be
fighting
pissed,
Pokemon.
But I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool seeing like Pokemon just beating the shit out of each other in a ring.
Totally.
Yeah,
that's what.
There's not gonna be a Snorlax though. Snorlax is my favorite.
That's what I liked about. That's what I liked about Super Smash Bros. Just watching like Peach getting the shit kicked out of her by Solid Snake.
I love like the cross realm stuff.
Yeah.
Like what's that friggin' awesome the side scrolling shooting game that has Broforce.
Broforce, yeah.
I love that about Broforce too, because you'll be fighting the alien level and you'll be like Will Smith from Men in Black or the Terminator fighting aliens. Like, this is so cool.
Yeah, just stuff that breaks the boundaries. I love that shit, right?
I bet Sony are right angry for giving Solid Snake up to Nintendo though, because now they have to use fucking Raiden, the silly one that no one likes.
That no one cares about and everyone hates, really.
Yeah. Because, you can use Solid Snake for Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. We're planning on making our own kind of game like that. Oh, we can't use Solid Snake anymore. Shit.
Just let them have Raiden. He's okay, I guess.
Raiden's shit, man.
Oh, yeah. I didn't like his character.
Neither did I. He was just edgy as fuck. He was super edgy.
What else? I think that's pretty much all I've been playing. The new Final Fantasy stuff. Cody, you can get ESO now as the new law. So you can buy all your ESO gear. The highest new gear level is 230. You get
that's the
220 from Midas.
Is do you know Law, the new Law, not the old Law?
Yeah, the new law is called Lore.
Law, yeah, but I'm English. It sounds the same. Is the new Law capped like ESO was?
It is. It's 450.
Hate that shit.
And the thing is, it's not gear or class specific. It's like stat specific. So like all the lore stuff for like they're shared with like bards and machinists. The gear is the exact same. It's not like different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like...
Well, like Law was. The original. Because ESO was the one that was class specific.
That was class specific, yeah. So yeah, there's lots of new stuff to do. The story's getting good. And the new dungeons were a lot easier than the last patches, so that was kind of disappointing. But the dungeons are cool.
Yeah, but can you remember fucking Faris Sirius Horde and then that other bullshit one for the expert roulette?
Yeah.
What's the other one? They were the most boring dungeons.
I know, I didn't like them. I thought they were really boring. The other one was the Arboretum.
And the Arboretum. And the problem with those two dungeons was the expert roulette was your main source of esoterics.
Yeah,
and
you hated those dungeons after a while.
So terrible. Just
the anti-tower's cool. Everything's upside down.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that's good.
Yeah. And then the last boss pays homage to Final Fantasy IV. If you've ever played it, or Final Fantasy 2 for Super Nintendo.
6 was the earliest one I played.
Okay. And Andopor Keep, or the Lost City of Andopor. Hard mode is pretty easy. But it's nice. It's short and sweet. Gets to the point. The dungeons are relatively shorter this time, so you're not in there forever.
Good.
Yeah. So besides that, pretty much been Final Fantasy. I've played some League. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You've been playing quite a bit of League, actually.
Yeah, I know. I haven't done anything really ranked. I've just been dicking around on blind pick and draft pick.
In a month though, Earth is coming back.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I have been waiting.
Awesome.
Once a year, I get to play that game mode. Once a fucking year.
Yeah. I know what I'm doing. Nautilus.
I'm playing.
Keep fucking shielding.
I get fucking 80 Malzahar.
Oh Jesus.
80 Malzahar, you get a load of void links.
Or just be Sona and just fucking heal everything.
Or just go the classic bullshit AP Tryndamere.
Oh yeah.
Heal. There's no one can get you. Or Lux. That's an obvious one.
Oh, Lux is fucking annoying on Earth.
I want Doombots to come back. Doombots was so fun.
I heard also that they're gonna bring something else back to League. I think this month or next month. Basically, I think they're saying like they're gonna put in. You know how like when you do your ranked matches, you choose your first and secondary role.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think they're gonna do a mode where you only choose one role again, like in Team Builder. So you don't have to queue up for 2 roles.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, same here. I mean,
I'm not bothered anyway. I choose mid and jungle, which I
usually choose my 2 best, right? But some people like they choose like their first one and they're still not getting it.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a good thing. I think giving people the opportunity to only pick one role is bad because you're gonna at some point like you should have to learn at least more than one role.
Yeah, and that's what I try to explain to my friends. Like, you gotta, branch out. I mean, everyone who plays League for the first time is always ADC or support. I'm like, you gotta break out and, start doing top lane and middle.
Yeah. I mean,
jungling is probably the most.
I've mained every single lane apart from support. And I can play every lane competently because you had to before Dynamic Q was around.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you're the last one and you got a position you didn't like, you're like, well, we either fucking lose or I'm gonna have to practice this.
You better fucking learn how to jungle if you don't know.
Trial by fire.
Exactly.
But I think it just sets a bad precedent.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't understand why they got rid of Team Builder. I thought that was stupid.
Because no one used it.
I thought a lot of people did use it, but everyone was queuing for top or middle lane because it's the most popular for whatever fucking reason.
Actually, I think mid and jungle are the 2 most popular ones now.
Yeah, jungle's pretty popular too.
But
support's the one that you were always waiting for in Team Builder, right?
Yep.
And I didn't mind being support. After a while, you're like, I want to fucking kill things.
Yeah. I get bored of support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like support, but I get bored.
Support was definitely like the one that I probably mastered first. And I was always like support like Nautilus or Sona. And then after that I went to ADC and did everything else.
I hate playing support because in rank, I know I'm going to sound like a huge bitch, but I hate having to rely on everyone else.
And that's the thing with ranked. You cannot play support or ADC because it requires the team like communication right there.
Exactly.
Middle and top and jungle, you're doing your own thing really. I mean, jungle has to talk to everyone a little bit, but bottom is like where it's at. Like that's
but jungle can suffice with pings.
I mean, exactly, and that's their form of communicating. But bottom, like they can pretty much make you lose your whole game if they're just not communicating.
Oh, exactly.
Exactly.
That's why pre-mades often win against people who aren't pre-mades, because
it's just how it is, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what I've been up to this week.
What about you, Fo?
Yeah, Fo, what do you play?
What have you been up to?
First thing, I've been noticing, for the viewer on YouTube, for some reason my Skype's been liking to freeze my and Jordy cameras. So it'll be frozen in weird postures every now and then. I apologize. For some reason it likes Nathan.
You can't freeze my camera, bitch.
We're actually posing.
Yeah. So my week, I basically played 3 games. 2 of them were indie one-off games, and they're basically just visual novels. The first one is called A Normal Lost Phone, which puts you in the position of a person who has found a cell phone, and you're trying to figure out whose it is. And that's all I'm going to say, because it's kind of like a little... It's not a surprise necessarily, but it's the journey of, as you piece together things like, oh, it's this kind of thing, and this is where he probably is, and that kind of stuff. The other one was called Venti Messi, and it was 20 short stories, each one taking the place in a month during World War II occupied Italy. So that was a barrel of laughs.
Yeah.
It was good. It was
always look on the bright side of life.
Of course.
Well, let's say.
It was very artistically done. I really like the style. It's like it was almost like South Park paper mache, but less cartoony, more abstract. I guess I really like the look. And the series I've been doing all this week is a game called Monochroma, which has been in my Steam library for a while. It's a Russian game that takes after like Limbo, so side-scrolling, two-dimensional platformer that tries to be really heavy on the story and symbolism. And holy crap, does it fall short of being good.
Oh, really?
It's just... I mean, so the trick is... I mean, it's probably... What was that really bad Double Fine game? The Cave.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot like that, where the gameplay feels bad, and it doesn't mesh well with the story. It just really... It's like, we're gonna have some gameplay now. We're gonna have some story now. Back to some gameplay. Where you hate jumping because jumping sucks.
Yeah, like...
Back to just like...
Well, what... developers don't understand is you're supposed to weave exposition into the narrative. You're not supposed to.
That's why Firewatch is.
Exactly, you're not supposed to take long breaks to dump a load of story on you. That's not what's meant to happen.
It's interesting. I was watching a Nostalgia Critic review today or yesterday,
which one?
And he was it was his post review, his like real thoughts on, and it was about Labyrinth.
Oh yeah.
And he was saying because Labyrinth came out in '85. And he compared it to a lot of anime movies. So like 80s movies and anime movies both have this thing, which current movies, for the most part, lack, where there's no explanation. It just puts you into a thing. Like in Spirited Away, it's like all of a sudden you're in the spirit realm where it's a bathhouse. And in Labyrinth, you're like, hey, there's a goblin killing fairies. That's just what happens. If you made the Labyrinth today, according to him, it's like, it would open, it's like, in a world where a goblin king has a labyrinth, this happens, then this happens because of this. It's just like everything would have to be broken down and explained in some sort of way, and you don't really have that like mystery and
that's
marvel.
Like a lot of video games nowadays, because they have all those stupid tutorials like this is how you do this. And it's like, no shit, Sherlock. This is a video game.
I love two things. I love how one, certain games try to disguise the tutorial in a really pathetic way.
Oh yeah, you can tell.
Yeah, and then two, I think the perfect example of bad exposition dumps is for the Last Airbender movie. For anyone who watched that. So basically, there was a certain scene in the Last Airbender that was pathetically worse than anything else in the movie. All of it was pretty bad, but this one scene was unforgivably bad. So basically, they had to miss a lot out because it's a 1.5 hour movie trying to encapsulate an entire fucking series.
Yeah.
So basically, he's in like a bar or like he's in a place, and then he's asked about what had happened to him. I think this was Zuko. And basically, he spent the next 5 minutes telling a massive story, about stuff that had happened in 4 or 5 episodes of the anime. And it was like a 5-minute conversation. It's like, this is the worst piece of shit I've ever seen in my life. How can you take 4 or 5 episodes of story and shove it into a 5-minute conversation? It just doesn't make any sense. And they do that all the time in games. It's like Halo is actually a great example of this. Anyone who thinks Halo is good, this is why Halo isn't very good. Because it's called, what I like to call, a checkpoint simulator. So what you do on Halo is you shoot a load of stuff, arrive at a checkpoint, and then exposition is dumped on you for the next 10 minutes. Then you go back into gameplay, shoot a load of other things. There's no narrative. It's just cutscenes.
That's what...
Bioshock 1 was good about that.
That.
Yes, because
you
had
original
to do,
Modern Warfare games.
Exactly.
Really
well, I mean, with Bioshock, you had Ryan... what's his name?
Oh, man.
The crazy dude.
Gosling. I have no idea.
Thingy Ryan.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
him anyway. You had him coming up on the walkie-talkie every now and then just to bitch at you, you know?
Yeah.
That's narrative, you know, in games like the new Modern Warfares where it's just cutscenes. Everything has to be in cutscenes nowadays. Why? Like
the old ones, it wasn't like that.
Look at some great games like some great storytelling games like Telltale games, you know? Like
I don't know how fair it is to compare to the more novel-like games.
Yeah, because they're all cutscene, basically.
No, but that's the thing. You need to decide what you're aiming for when you make a game.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like, if you're making a game like Black Ops 3, for example, story's probably not going to be your main focus.
Sure.
Right? But they just try anyway. And it always fails because they just do it epically bad.
I guess.
How do the Assassin's Creeds do?
Yeah.
Which ones? Depends.
Some of them are good, some of them are bad, I guess. Sounds like
Assassin's Creed 1, that was its biggest proponent of it being good, was the story was quite decent.
Okay.
The protagonist was a bit mysterious, but altogether pretty alright protagonist. Then you get to number 3, where nothing makes sense at all.
Yeah, everything was so convoluted.
Number 4 was good, although it didn't make sense for a different reason. Black Flag's good because he just picks up an Assassin's Creed outfit and suddenly knows how to be an assassin. Yeah. That didn't really make sense, but it was a good game. 3 didn't make sense because the main character was constantly shifting between his loyalty between the assassins and the Templars for no reason, because the assassins treat him like absolute crap and the Templars treat him like a prince. So where's the objection? Where's the tough decision? You're obviously going to play the Templars. I don't want to be shouted at 24/7, so I'm not going to go with you. That's. But
I think we can all agree that the worst game for like that whole cutscene thing, and then it's like story, and then it's like gameplay, was Metal Gear Solid 4.
I hated Metal Gear Solid 4
because
the sad thing about that game is the sad thing about that game was the gameplay was pretty good.
Yeah,
the gameplay was pretty alright. But it was just so boring. I think there was one cutscene in that game that lasted like
45 minutes. Like 45, something stupid like that.
The longest cutscene was at about over half an hour, I remember hearing. How is that even allowed?
I don't know. That's like outrageous. Watching a movie. That's why
I like a save point in your cutscene.
I have no idea.
You turn off the game and the cutscene just starts up. But no, that's what Metal Gear Solid 5 fixed. A lot of the like cutscenes were like melded into the gameplay, like it would still keep going, and it was fluid, right? So that's the main important thing.
It's like you say, maybe it's not fair to compare them to games like Walking Dead, but if you are making a game and you say we want to focus on story, they're the types of games you need to be looking at, because there isn't. We might joke and say it's one long cutscene, but there are no cutscenes in a Telltale game.
It's all.
It's all narrative.
Right? You can expect a QTE at any second.
Pretty much all the gameplay is just quick time events.
As much as we hate QTEs,
they do them well.
For the most part, they are weaved quite well into the. It's not fade to black, then come back. It's actually weaved quite well into the animation.
They're mostly like. So I think the biggest problem with QTEs is usually when I think Zero Punctuation coined the phrase slow time events, where the game just freezes until you do the QTE. They have those in Telltale, but they are done perfectly because they are used to ram home the dramaticness of the event, like cutting your arm open or murdering something. Like it's very, very profound when they do it.
I think the slow time events from Yahtzee was actually in reference to the Call of Duty thing. Do you know
to hold respects?
The pay respects. He coined the slow time event because there's actually no reaction times needed. It's just make sure you're awake.
Or I love the ones. I think there's one in Batman where like the Penguin's punching you. And you have to right click to block the punch. But if you don't, he just keeps punching you over and over and over. Like it's like forever. It's so dumb.
You see, but
for the most part, actually, Batman had some pretty good QTEs.
I think that this might be a weird comparison, but I think what we have to blame for this poor execution of story in terms of gameplay than story.
Yeah.
I think the way that Rise was the oversimplification of games in general. When they started making games too easy was when this shit started happening, because they no longer needed to focus on that kind of shit. Can you remember back in the day when LucasArts were big and all their games were big? Gameplay obviously wasn't amazing in point and click adventure games, but they mastered what they were marketing the games towards. They mastered it. The story aspect of most LucasArts games were the best in the world, right? But then you look at these games like Battlefield and Call of Duty and all these just atrocious shit-peddling games, and they market themselves as the action games for real gamers. And they've mastered almost none of the aspects that would make it that. You know, if you want to look at a really good action game, look at Painkiller. You know, if you want to look at a good action game with good story, COD 4 was a perfect.
Original COD 4,
I had really good symbiosis between, story and action.
I really like games where the dialogue can instantly become action. Like, there's a good example, I can't remember the name right now, but a less good example, because it's less well known, is Westerado, where like you can be talking to somebody, and at any time you can pull out your gun and it becomes a fight sequence, or you threaten them and it can escalate to a fight sequence.
Oh, right.
See, that's cool.
Well, it's dynamic events, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Which is nice.
I mean, it's just, I think there's nothing wrong with making a game and not focusing on story. I think this is what AAA companies don't understand. It doesn't always have to be about the story. I think that when a AAA company makes a game, they think, oh, we have to make a story because, that's what people... No, some people just genuinely don't care. So if you make a game, you can say, we're not going to focus on story. We're going to focus on gameplay. And that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
But it's
like in my Crash Bandicoot game, I don't really care about the story all that much.
Exactly.
It's just the platforming. I like
It's all this pussyfooting between the two. If you don't want to make a story, don't make a story. But don't attempt to, is my point.
Yeah.
Sure.
Put all of your effort into making great gameplay. All these... don't detract from the things you want to do.
Because often the poor gameplay severely detracts from the story. Because, like, there's, like, some really sad thing going on. It's like, oh, I have to do this thing, and I can't do it. So instead of being sad, I'm just frustrated and pissed going into these really dramatic moments. Like, I don't care anymore. I don't care. Kill him. Whatever.
Well, that's why Telltale games are so good at what they do. Because they don't focus on gameplay. They do the bare minimum to make the story work. And that's fine.
I actually, generally, in the Telltale games, don't like it when I have to walk around.
No, like, you're not going over here.
No. It's like, I have to walk all the way over there to talk to that person? Forget it. It's nothing important anyway.
I think Life is Strange is a good example of how to interweave narrative and gameplay. There wasn't a lot of... Because it even had the time-skipping mechanic that made it even harder to do that. But it actually pulled it off rather well. But Telltale games obviously are the go-to. Not for me. I'd probably use Dreamfall as my go-to for story, but a more common known source is Telltale. Mm-hmm. I mean, they obviously sat down and say, gameplay is not our strong suit. It's never going to be because of the type of game we're making. So let's focus on how to make the game...
I'd say Dreamfall has more gameplay than Telltale.
Oh, yes.
It actually has puzzles, for example.
Yes, it does, yeah. Not just use screwdriver on screw.
Yeah.
Like friggin', like I thought the puzzles in Minecraft, they were pushing the line. Like, just give me an axe. Don't make me actually click the blocks to make an axe. Like, after you've shown me how to make an axe, it's just like, it's a waste of time. Just give me it.
I mean, that was the thing about it. That fell a bit.
Yeah, it's very it stretched the line a little bit.
Yeah, but I really wish that Dreamfall was one of these games that you could just reference and people get, because people need to know about that game. But Telltale is the type of game that you need to sit there and focus on what you want to do. And I'm sick of companies trying to do everything, and it never works. They try and do everything to a competent level. It's just never going to happen. There are very few games out there that are just generally good all around. Most games have flaws, and it's hard to come by a game that is just flat out good.
10 out of 10.
Yeah. Since recording, Yahtzee says there's no such thing as a 10 out of 10 game, which I generally agree with.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But he also
said, if you're going by like a literal definition, like the perfect game, you can do no better. Yeah, there's no such thing.
But then he also says that he basically was doing like a mailbox. He was reading out some fan mail or hate mail, and someone was saying you're not even a reviewer because you don't use numbers. Like you don't use a rating scale. And he's like, I don't believe that you can quantify a game's quality.
That's so stupid.
That's hilarious.
You know, he's like, I don't.
That's so narrow-minded.
Exactly.
Wow.
He's like, I don't believe you can just give a game a number and that's what it means. I think
it's very arbitrary.
That's how simple-minded the marketplace is at this point.
That's what I like.
Right.
That's what I like about his reviews, though. He doesn't give a number. He doesn't give a scale or rating. You know, he
just really just says.
He doesn't say if it's good or bad.
Yeah.
He just describes his experience, what he liked, what he didn't like.
Yeah, exactly. That's what reviewing should be.
Yeah.
Because it's super subjective.
Yes, exactly. I hate those people who go on reviews and say
this game is bad.
Exactly. This company gave it an 8 out of 10. Gave it an 8 out of 10. Purely subjective viewpoint, but he gave it an 8 out of 10. That means it must be good. No,
it just must be good.
That
it's
just
good
means,
to him, maybe.
Yeah, that means he liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, good. But yeah, I just think the scene needs to calm down a bit and decide what they want to do. I'm glad to say that Assassin's Creed are taking a year out.
Yeah.
Good. You know.
And then it can be extra hard when they have bugs.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, because they've drove that franchise into the ground.
Pretty much.
And
it's kind of even more embarrassing than Call of Duty at this point.
I mean, I'd have said pack up the franchise completely, but I guess, you know, giving it a break is something.
Yeah.
I mean,
better than nothing.
Better than nothing, yes. So I don't know. I like it when. Do you know when you play a game and you can tell what the developers wanted out of that game? That's a really nice feeling, where I know what they were going for.
It doesn't feel like a mess.
Exactly. When you play like a Black Ops, you're like, what was the point of this game? I don't understand. Was it meant to be a gut-wrenching, heartwarming story, or was it meant to be all-out action? There's such a thing. We were talking about it the other week. There's such a thing as juxtaposition, which games like Black Ops don't have. For everyone out there who doesn't know what juxtaposition is, it means the more you do something, the same thing, the less impact it has. So in a game, if you have explosions after explosions all the time, they start to lose the meaning.
Yeah.
That's why COD 4 was so good, because it was a relatively quiet game up until the scene where you could die in a nuclear explosion.
Yeah.
That had real impact, because that was the first time
that
it
blew your
happened.
mind. You're like, what the fuck?
It was new, you know. That's what juxtaposition is. A lot of these new games don't have that. They fill it with so much explosions and like, do you know those games that have like plot twists every 2 minutes? It's like, what's the point? Just they start to lose the meaning.
Keep you invested.
Exactly, and then
it's a cheap way of keeping you invested.
Actually, BioShock Infinite's a good example of that.
That's why I hated that game. I hated BioShock Infinite. 1 and 2, amazing games.
It's so hard to keep track. Like, you're in a different world every time you come back from a mission. It's like, then what I didn't make any changes. Like, everything I do gets wiped away by a complete timeline rewrite.
Exactly, so everything I did was just pointless.
So pointless feeling. Very futile. Maybe that was the point, but I
didn't like it. I didn't finish it either.
The gameplay itself didn't engage me either. Like, I didn't play BioShock 2, but I wanted more BioShock 1 that is, like, sneaky horror resource management, not Halo run and gun shields now. It doesn't matter.
No, but I liked the railgun system. It
was cool.
It was kind of cool.
I don't know if I liked it as a gameplay thing, but visually and world-buildingly it was cool.
But I thought, like, the guns, but not so much the guns, but the powers in Infinite were just garbage compared to the ones in BioShock 1 and 2.
That's because Salt was thrown at you like fucking candy.
Yeah. When you got a new power in BioShock, you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be awesome.
It was called Salt, right? Yeah?
And...
Because they were called...
Yeah.
They were called the Vigors. They were called
Vigors. And I think it was Salt and Infinite.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was Salts.
And Vigors were in 1 and 2.
Like, because... The guns I've always hated. The thing I've always disliked about BioShock is that the guns feel like shit. The guns feel like Nerf guns. They just don't feel like they have any impact. They feel like...
Well, so for me, it felt... In BioShock 1, when you upgrade your gun, it felt like, I've upgraded the gun, it's better now.
It's actually
but in BioShock 2, you're like, or 3, I mean, you upgraded the gun, there's a new one. Like, you got new guns faster.
Too many.
Yeah, and you max their upgrade, like, instantly. Like, it's just, there's no sense of accomplishment.
Yeah. BioShock 2 was terrible, by the way.
No, BioShock 2 was amazing.
I've heard both.
I like the story ending better for BioShock 2 than 1.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to get a worse ending than BioShock 1. BioShock 1 had the worst endings ever.
In terms of sadness, not in terms of, like,
it was just terribly done.
Oh, dang.
It just wasn't very well done. It just had a kind of a shitty ending.
I think Bioshock 2 is actually the only one out of the series that actually made me tear up at the end because of the ending. Bioshock 1, I was like, oh, that asshole. And then Infinite, and then Infinite, I'm like, well, I didn't finish
it's over,
it,
okay,
so
finally.
Yeah, I just didn't care.
Did you do the DLC for Infinite, where you go back to Rapture?
No, I didn't even do that. I was tempted to because I really liked the whole idea about Rapture was just amazing. I remember seeing Bioshock 1 on TV as a commercial, and I'm like, this game looks amazing. The whole idea of underwater city and fucking survival horror and the big daddies. And
totally.
Awesome game.
I did actually kind of like the bird thing from Infinite.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
But it didn't really have the same role as a Big Daddy, because it was a one kind of a kind of thing. It's only like in cutscenes. Okay, I'm going to move on to our first news story. It's at the hour mark, so perfect timing, I think.
Sweet.
First news story that Shar has sent in the mass email of bullet points is Activision is implementing layoffs.
What, to employees or?
Yes,
yeah.
to their employees. Because both Guitar Hero Live and Skylander Superchargers performed weaker than expected, quote.
Well, they did shit then.
Yes, because they blame the casual audience's shift to mobile devices is the cause.
No, it isn't. No. Okay, maybe. Okay, regarding Guitar Hero, I knew that wasn't going to do well.
Shit.
I knew that wasn't going to...
The whole jukebox thing was terrible. I think we talked about this in the podcast. It was just one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of.
What jukebox thing?
You couldn't, like, buy a song.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you could, like, rent a song, essentially, for real money still.
Dumb. But
it was the
Guitar Hero had its time. That's what Activision needed to know.
Two things about Guitar Hero. One, the new Guitar Hero had the shittest set list of any Guitar Hero I've seen up to yet. It was terrible. That's one of the reasons why it did so shit. And two, Guitar Hero needed to end as soon as they implemented downloadable songs. Because when you get...
There's no reason to make a new one,
Exactly.
Right?
There's no reason... If you can play any song on the planet, what's the point in making a new game?
Like, it would be very, very easy. It might not be as good, but it would be very, very easy to make... like a thing that generates the level off of... You can put in any MP3. Like, you could put in, like, this podcast, and it would generate a song.
That's why...
There's lots of games that do that, like Audio Surf.
Maybe they wouldn't have lost so much money if, like, Guitar Hero was only for PC. Because then the modding community can just have way at it with all the songs that they can want to do. You know, they can do so much on the PC, but console, like, people just... It had its time. That's pretty much all I can say.
And it was fun.
And it was fun. I was addicted to it for the longest time. I remember when I bought Guitar Hero 2 for PS2, I played that thing for a full day. I didn't even go to sleep.
It took me 3 months to finish Through the Fire Flames. 3 months.
Yep, that's a hard-ass song.
Like, constant playing. I finally finished it, though.
Like when I got the Xbox 360 version, when you got to play the Halo theme on Guitar Hero.
Oh, yeah.
That was amazing. It had its time. Like, it was a great game. It was just... And regarding Skylanders,
they've been like Amiibos and
Amiibo has pretty much murdered the Disney Infinity and the Skylanders and the Lego. The Lego one's probably not even doing that well, so
probably not.
I mean, yeah, unfortunately, Nintendo came in pretty much at the end and they've kicked everyone out.
Like a wrecking ball.
Yep. So I mean, I guess they produced too much of the product, and now they have to fire some people, which is unfortunate because I wouldn't want anyone to lose their job.
Oh no, certainly not.
I guess Mad Catz is having trouble as well.
Oh yeah,
they're mostly known for their fight sticks, but they also make like the Guitar Hero controllers.
Yeah. I was actually saw a thing saying that Mad Catz was in trouble financially, so they might be packing up soon. I don't even see Mad Catz stuff pretty much anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
Nah, neither do I, actually, thinking about it.
The last thing I remember was, like, last gen. And that was, like, early last gen. They were more popular, I found, Mad Catz, during, like, the GameCube, PS2, and...
Yeah, because they made... they could get away with making really cheap...
third-party items. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the problem is with Mad Catz is that the quality of the controllers were always kind of shit. But
everyone knew that.
Yeah, but ironically, all of the proper ones were also kind of shit around the PS2 era. The actual ones that came with the console were just kind of crappy because it was the limitations of the time.
Like, have you ever used a Mad Catz GameCube controller? Like, literally, that was a piece of shit. Like, you could literally break it in half. And then the Xbox controllers, which, may I remind you, the original Xbox controllers were those big-ass ones. So the Mad Catz were even worse. They were big and they were Mad Catz. So, like, oh, man. They're just terrible controllers. But if you're in a bind and you need an extra controller, I guess, throw the $20 and...
I can remember being around mate's house and he had one Mad Catz controller and one official.
No one wanted to use it.
And you'd always fight over who gets to use it.
Yeah.
That's so true.
You get the shit one. No, why do I get the shit one? I always get the shit one.
Yeah.
Again, oh, brilliant. I watched someone the other day do Through the Fire and Flames on expert in 125% speed. And he did it.
Whoa.
And he did it 100%.
Oh
he nearly did a full completion, but he overstrummed once. He overstrummed once. He didn't miss a single note, but he overstrummed once.
I bet he could practically do it with no sound.
Yeah,
just muscle memory.
It was someone came into the room while he was doing it. He was just having a chat with his
that's
girlfriend.
just freaking muscle memory at that point.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
That's awesome.
But yeah, he overstrummed once, but he hit every single note, and I was like, "What the fuck?" It's like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I remember playing Guitar Hero 3, I think. It was 3 or 2. And I remember it was a song on hard or expert. And I failed it at the very end of the song. But the percentage said complete 101. I was like, what the hell? How is this even possible? 101% complete, and I failed it. So I did more than what the song asked for, and I still failed it. It was really bizarre.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was like, did this thing glitch or what? Because I failed, and it says I completed 101% of the song.
That's interesting.
Yeah, if I can find that photo, because I remember taking a picture of it, I'll show you guys. It was really bizarre.
In regards to Activision...
Yeah, it's Activision.
Shit happens. I mean, I feel sorry for anyone at Activision who does lose their jobs. But they've been shit in the bed for a long time.
What was the last great thing that they made?
Like, all their Call of Duty games sucked. Apart from COD. They made COD 4, right? So...
I'll look up what Activision has done.
Yeah, the last Call of Duty game has mixed reviews on Steam. I know that for a fact. So, I mean, that can't be good.
Stock.
Call of Duty 4 was Activision. The publishers were Activision. But it was made by Infinity Ward.
Infinity Ward. Which I heard Infinity Ward's making the next one.
Yeah, because
the first thing I see is Find My Next Career button. I'm not going to click that, Activision.
Sorry, we can't hire you, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Anyway, the next news story actually involved a game I haven't heard of. You guys know the game Spore, right?
Oh, yes. I remember Spore.
I've heard of Spore. Have you heard of Darkspore?
Darkspore?
Oh, I have, yes.
Okay, it was apparently a Diablo-esque spin-off.
Yes, it was shit.
Yes, so...
What the heck?
It has always-on DRM requirement that EA is pulling the plug on. So people who bought that game will no longer be able to play it.
Oh, I thought...
Like, you just can't play it.
I thought you meant, like, so they can play it offline.
No, they can't.
Play it, period.
To play it, it has to be online. It has an always-on DRM requirement in the game. So people who've bought this game, which is basically nobody, apparently, can play it. So everyone's outraged on principle, but nobody's really affected by it. Let me read to you a sentence from the official announcement, because it's so stupid. It's... While it can be hard to say goodbye, keep in mind there are tons of awesome games available for free on Origin. Enjoy 48 hours of fun with game time titles such as The Sims 4 and Plants vs. Zombies, blah, 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 blah. It's like, wow.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like, screw you, thanks for the money. Here's some free stuff that everyone can already play anyway.
And it's a little plug there, because it's like, you can play these games for 48 hours and then totally buy them, please.
Yeah,
it should be here. We fucked up. You can have this game for free instead.
I'm sorry my sandwich gave you food poisoning. Have I told you I make cakes?
Yeah, exactly. Wow, that is shit. And you know what, though? It doesn't surprise me, because I never heard of the game.
Dumb. God,
Darkspore.
EA. I never heard of it at all.
I remember Spore,
I played it for about half an hour, and it was shit. It was so bad. I can remember actually vividly thinking, "This is wank."
It sounds like something that you can actually make for an add-on for the original Spore. I don't know why it would have to be its own game.
Totally.
That's stupid.
Because it's evil creatures with violence. I don't know. More combat focused. I don't know.
I always thought Spore was always about making your own evil critters going around on planets and fucking
walking
stuff
penises is the real game, actually, it turns out.
I know, right?
Next, this is a short story. So, you guys know how in MGS5 there are microtransactions, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Apparently, for some reason, in Japan, the MGS5, like on Japanese servers, the in-game currency you would get through microtransactions expires after like 6 months or something like that. It's just like a really random thing to only affect
they don't want
Japanese players.
Money over time, like that's
like you have. Yeah, you can't get too much money. You better spend this money.
Who keeps in-game currency for 6 months?
I don't know.
Now, is the in-game currency on?
Let me read
on the
it.
servers?
Yes. Okay. MB coins, the in-game currency, it makes them invalid if not used within a 6-month time period. So I assume it's only online. Currently, it's restricted to players in Japan playing on Steam. Whether accumulated in-game or purchased with real money, they'll be rendered null and void within half a year.
So
so this is interesting. Do you know if you like buy 1,000? I don't know what the things are, but then the next week you buy another 1,000.
Yeah.
Is it 6 months for the first 1,000 and then? Do you get what I mean?
That is how this reads. Yes,
right.
That is how this reads. After 6 months, the first half would go away, and
so
after the next day, the other half would go away.
So you can't literally like spend like $1 out of like your 1,000, and then before 6 months, and then it just resets again.
That's what this implies. But here's a question: if I spend 1,000 and then I wait like 5 months and 29 days, and I get another 1,000, and then I spend 1,000. Did it consume the old 1,000 or the new 1,000?
Oh yeah, does your new 1,000
How does it know which 1,000 I spent?
See, that's why I'm wondering if it's all combined. Maybe after if you buy it another 1,000, it automatically resets.
Maybe just if your wallet doesn't change in 6 months, wipe it.
Yeah, my question is, how do they know this? Who keeps currency for half the year?
Also, why?
Yeah, that's weird.
Like, who is it affecting? Like, this is a huge problem we are having with people not spending money. It's like, so we're going to force them to spend money somehow.
The only reason why I can see them doing that is so that they keep the servers healthy, or maybe...
But only Japan.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
This is the weirdest thing.
The only way they know this is it's obviously happened to someone. That's how they know about this. Who keeps in-game money for 6 months?
Yeah.
Who does that? That's mental. Who buys RP on LoL and goes, I'm going to save that in case I want something in 5 months' time?
No.
My RP is definitely that old. That's because I don't play.
The only other reason I can think that they would do something like this, and I still think it's weird that it's just only Japan, but maybe it's like to avoid those conflicts of people buying too much currency, and then down the road they don't have to reimburse them. They're already telling them, you've already spent that, and it's been 6 months. We're not giving back your money.
Well, like, the whole advantage to gift cards in anything is when the person who has the gift card loses it, and it's free money.
Exactly. So, I don't know, that's really fucked up. The only other reason I can think is if their servers hold the information of everyone's currency and people aren't spending it, it might fuck up their servers. But it sounds like it's on everyone's own personal machine, so I don't know. I have no idea. Especially Japan, that's really weird.
Very specific, yeah.
It's like they're forcing them to play like the game, or else you're going to lose your money.
Right. So here's what I think is the biggest story. Maybe I should have saved it for last. This is like second to last story, biggest story. This is the order Shar sent him to me. Game delayed. Here's the headline. Game delayed due to lack of pre-orders. So here's what I'm talking about. Here's why people need transparency. Because apparently, the developers were hoping the pre-orders would fund the finishing of the game. They didn't do a Kickstarter, they just decided to sell the game early before finishing it. And they didn't sell enough, so they're delaying. They're not canceling. They're delaying the game. It's just like, if people had known the game wasn't finished yet when they were pre-ordering, like, you know, it's just so bad.
Now, if that's the case, people are going to find out and be like, oh, I'm just going to cancel my pre-order, and then they're just going to lose their money, and then they'll never get finished, and then, yeah, they just fucked up.
Yeah, the moral of the story isn't pre-order games or else they won't get made. It's don't pre-order games, so you force people to get them funded before they try to sell them.
Or just don't pre-order games, because don't be a mong. Just wait for the game to come out.
You can pre-order Dark Souls 3 right now. I don't know why. There's not even like a discount. It's full price pre-order.
Yeah. What's the point?
I don't know.
One day they're going to get on the stage at E3 and go, I'm thinking of a game. Give me cash.
I think they took it down, but Warhammer Total War was up for pre-order a few months ago.
Yeah.
And like a year and a half before the release date.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. That's no way discount too long.
I mean, a $60 game.
Overwatch is being said to be early for pre-orders, and that's saying
it is. It's way too. I think the only time you should be allowed to pre-order games is 3 months before the game is released. Max. Anything that's like more than 6 months, I'd be like, do they have the money to finish this game?
Okay, and for the record, the game we're talking about is the company is Marvelous, and it's a PS Vita game called Uppers.
Oh, first of all, it's a PS Vita game. We all know how the PS Vita does, so I can see why this game is not doing too well. So,
who exclusively develops for the PS Vita?
Yeah, you're an idiot. I would rather go in the mobile market and just make the game for the phone. Like, you'd have a better chance of success. Like, the PS Vita is junk.
What does this sentence mean? This is one of the developers talking. We decide the initial number of copies for the marketplace on the number of pre-orders. Is he talking about physical copies?
It would have to be, because there's no real amount of copies in digital form. Right?
We can only copy the bitch so many times. It's like video game blueprints that expire after you build the thing off of them.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how they worded that.
And he didn't, as far as I know, he didn't give... they moved the release date to April. So there is a new date, but I don't know if they know where the money's coming from already or not. Huh. And whatever. So I thought that was that really pissed me off. That
I'm glad
they weren't transparent about needing more funding and trying to use the pre-order system.
That's good, because maybe that'll make other companies realize, like, okay, maybe we can't do that, because people get their money back.
But that'd be nice. Yeah. So last scripted news story is so there's a video game. There's a senator named Leland Yee. What country? Former California state senator. He's a big advocate of gun control, and he's very anti-violent video games. Sorry. He tried to pass a bill banning the sale of violent games to children. Recently, he has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for racketeering, weapons smuggling, and other charges. So he's like, I want to restrict guns so the ones I sell illegally are worth more.
Oh my god. Only in America.
It's a very glorious story. I'm very pleased with this story. Fuck. It's just too good.
That's brilliant. You can't write this stuff, can you?
No.
It's always the crazy whack jobs that attack video games that always do the stupidest things.
Do they think it's just like a character thing? Like, this proves I'm not guilty because I did that thing against the video games. It's like, but not movies or books or free thought. I don't.
Because it's funny, because obviously there is a big crusade against video games. There has been for a while. But before video games were popular, it was movies that had the crusade against it, and then before that it was books. And before that, it's all it's newer, therefore it's cancerous.
Penn Jillette had a very good 3-minute rant on this. I think it was on Big Think. Just like, stop picking on artists.
Yeah, pretty much when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Oh god.
That's so awesome. Like, the irony is just perfect.
Yeah.
Good.
I just you see, I'm glad you brought up Penn Jillette, because I love that guy. I really do. I think he's a really, really smart guy. I was listening to him, when the US elections were in full flow. it was basically talking about how the word Christian affects people's voting. Something really interesting. It's like Christian isn't actually a thing.
No, you can divide it up into really
well, you've
small,
got Baptists and
different types,
evangelicals and Lutherans and stuff. You would never call you back in the day. You wouldn't call yourself a Christian. You called yourself a Baptist or a Lutheran,
right?
And it was obviously during the abortion, the abortion rights in the 60s. That's when the word Christian came to be, because
I see.
Because everyone banded together and started using the word as Christians. We think it's against God's plan and all of this. And that's when people people in politics started using the word Christian. Even though if you win a race and now you can say, I'm a Christian, so all the Christians should vote for me. And it'll probably work, right? Yeah. But back in the day...
And that's still how it is here, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But back in the day, that wouldn't work, because you would have to... You wouldn't...
right, got it.
You wouldn't even talk about what sect you'd belong to. If you said I'm a...
Because none of them are the majority. There's too many different ones. And you piss off the majority.
And they all disagree with each other. Yes. If you come out and say, I'm a Baptist, the evangelicals move away. Yeah. And the Lutherans move away.
Well, it's like...
And the Pentecostals...
This is what I'm about to say isn't going to be important to somebody from Europe, but if you were to break out Christians and force them to identify with their particular beliefs, they no longer become the majority here in America. It's atheists who are the biggest.
Atheists, yeah.
Do you know that if you count atheism as a religion, it is the fastest growing religion of all time?
Yes, but I don't. They also don't count bald as a hair color.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't. But I'm saying that's the easiest way to.
Yes.
But yeah, that's interesting to me. But it's because if you say I'm a Baptist, the Pentecostals move. Everyone else falls away, and you get very few people agreeing with you. Then, so back in the day, people were so scared of being public about what they believed in. But now you can just say I'm a Christian, and everyone's right behind you. Because we're a Christian nation.
One nation under God. Oh, wait, that...
it's nothing.
I don't want to get too political. But I mean, that one nation under God thing wasn't introduced until the Cold War.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, isn't there a big... there's a big...
In God we trust.
Yeah, there's a big contradiction between... Because a lot of people like to say the Founding Fathers said this was based on Christian beliefs. But then there's a very distinct speech of Benjamin Franklin talking about how religion doesn't really matter, because he wasn't religious, I believe. I believe Ben Franklin was an atheist.
Right. And I think Thomas Jefferson has a Bible with like all of like these supernatural things crossed out.
I think it's Thomas Jefferson who was the atheist, sorry. Thomas Jefferson was... one of those two people were very outspoken about not being a believer of God.
Right.
And so all these people in America like, this country was based on Christian values. No, it was based on a bunch of English people who came over and fucked a load of Native Americans in the arse.
Yeah.
It was really funny. I saw some people getting really outraged because they couldn't understand how the Founding Fathers weren't American. It's like, they couldn't have been. Not. They founded America, so they weren't Americans. They're like, how dare you? It's like, it's my brain.
I love it when, do you know when outraged idiots say like, how dare you and stuff like that? Makes me laugh at, how dare you?
I go easily.
I dare, sir.
How can not anyone know that?
Yeah.
It's like in the name. It's in the name. Founding.
Yeah. They
became American, but they weren't.
I've always wondered where the name America came from. America.
Is it a Native American word?
It might be. I know Canada.
No, but they only called Native Americans because...
Right, I know, but did the Native Americans call it... What did they call where they lived?
I don't know.
America.
I have no idea what the origins... I could look it up now, but...
I always love... This is my favourite thing about America, right? This is my favourite thing.
Yeah.
So, a lot of it... and as you said, they were English. A lot of English people went over to America and went, you're Indians, right? This is India. And they're like... Right. No, this isn't India. And they're like, no, you're in. This is India, right? Like, no. And then you just carried on calling them Indians.
Oh yeah.
Knowing full well that it wasn't.
Well, they didn't know it. They never denied being Indians because they didn't know what India was.
Yeah.
But
got it. Right.
Yeah. Even now in America, people still call them Indians, knowing full well that they're not Indians.
They're just native.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not even the same country.
You actually see it more. I think like Westerada was made by a Dutch team, I think, and they're called Indians in that. So I feel like it's a lot of like Africa recently, like in the last month, I was listening to a news story. Africa opened up a like Native American themed restaurant. You know, it's got like the totem poles and like the feather headdresses, like things that are kind of like generally seen as offensive. I don't know how offensive they actually are, but it's like you don't want to do like a caricature of Native American stuff.
Stereotypical in it.
Exactly, it's very stereotypical. It's not respectful. Is the point? It's not coming from a bad place. No. They just don't know because it's Africa.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, I really hate talking because I'm English. I don't know fuck all about any other country. I'm on a tiny island.
You probably know more than me. At least with geography. I feel like American public school geography is really lacking.
I'm not gonna lie, it probably is.
I think what surprised me is that I really like American politics. I've always followed American politics quite closely. Because I like the presidential system. I don't like the prime ministerial system at all. I don't know why. I just like the... Do you know... Because there's this thing. I know it's stupid, right? But when you go to England, there's this sense of despair when it comes to government. People don't really know where they stand when it comes to government. And there's always people obviously outraged about something. But when you go to America, there's this sense of pride that people have with their government, whether they like it or hate it. Like when I step in America and I talk to people, I've talked to loads of people in America about, you know, which party they not all of them are willing to tell me. But while I was on holiday, a lot, you know, talk about politics. A lot of them are very proud of their president, whether they like him or hate him. They're very proud to have a president, and they're just quite proud about it. And over here, you're just like, I hate David Cameron.
I wonder what the across countries. I wonder what the what the comparative voter turnout is, like the percentage. Because here you get more people voting for like America's Got Talent than you have voting for the president.
Yeah.
I think it's just because they don't want to. A lot of people don't want to vote while being misinformed. But
totally. I mean, I still vote, but I've never yet felt good about my vote because I don't put in the time to do any research.
See, I'm the opposite.
It's like, here's the perceptions the media's given me. I'm going to go with that.
See, I'm the opposite. I've never voted in my life, but I closely follow politics. But I don't feel like voting because I don't like any of them.
Yeah, well, I usually vote for the best one, but knowing that probably all the promises are probably not going to come through.
I hate having to do that, though. I know a lot of people do that, the best of a bad situation, that whole kind of thing. But I'm not going to vote for someone I'm not confident in.
No, and that's fine. That's fine doing it that way, too.
But over here, and especially in America, you're almost like an outcast if you come out and say you don't vote. In America, if you come out and say you don't vote, people ostracize.
Yeah, I've noticed that, too. Yeah,
there's a bit of that, yeah.
But over here, it's similar over here, but not people just don't really care over here. But I don't vote because I'm not. If I'm not confident in any of the applicants, and I'm not going to vote for them, why? Why should I have to? Over here, you have to be signed up to vote, but you don't have to vote. So you have to be on the electoral vote system, but you don't actually.
You have to register.
Yes, same here. So you have to register to vote, but you don't actually have to vote.
The advantage to not registering is I think that then also keeps your name off the list for jury duty.
It does. Yeah.
Oh. Well, over here, actually recently in the last couple of weeks, I got sent letters saying I have to vote or else I'll get fined. I'll have to. Sorry, I have to register to vote.
Register, yeah.
Or else I'll get fined.
Oh, so you can register for the draft as well.
Yeah. So basically, I had to put my name forward for the electoral like a week ago.
I see.
But I'm not going to vote. I refuse to, unless a candidate comes forward that.
I was trying to explain to Shar earlier this week. He learned about. I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but the American Electoral College. It's basically, they technically decide the president. Like, so all the states, they all vote, and then they all have representatives, and the representatives theoretically vote the same way the state voted, and that electoral college vote is what actually determines the president.
Oh, is that why you say, like, Ohio votes for?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
But I actually don't, I learned about this in high school. We took, American government. I don't remember how they divide it up, because I'm pretty sure it's like it's precisely 100 representatives, and so you can't have less than one representative. So some states have a disproportionately high presence because they're less than 1/100th of the population of the country.
This is what confuses me. I follow it quite close. Mostly, the most thing about American politics I follow is the candidates themselves. But what I've never understood about American politics is that some states are worth more than others. No, in terms of voting.
Yeah, they have more reps in the electoral college.
So how does it work? If let's say you get Florida, and then someone else gets fucking Wyoming, right?
Yeah.
I'm presuming Florida is a more important.
I think it has more people, so it's more.
Oh, is that how it works? So,
I believe it's mostly on a head count type thing.
Oh, because I've always wondered how
population,
when you can be down in the percentage of states that you win, but you can still win
with the voting numbers.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Right. So yeah. I mean, because realistically, in a pure democracy, it's just total number of votes comparison.
Yes.
But we're using like a representative republic type thing.
Oh, because I know that there wasn't it like Obama or something who was down. He got less than half of the states to vote for him in the first time.
I don't.
But he won the vote because of the certain states that did vote for him.
That sounds plausible.
It sounds like something like that would happen. Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure it's
maybe I
happened before.
made that shit up.
I'm sure that has happened to a president.
Yes, probably.
I'd be very surprised.
Because over here we do it by section. So each district council votes for. But I still don't really know how they count that shit up either. All I know is that the Conservatives overwhelmingly won this time around, which is really sad for us because we get a general election every 5 years, not 4 years, which kind of sucks dick because we have to live with a Conservative government for 5 years.
There's a really good Mark Twain, I think it's Mark Twain quote, where it's like, politicians are like diapers. They should be changed frequently and for the same reason. Because they're full of shit.
That's true. I mean, I like that.
This is the thing I hate because, like, we don't have a democracy. Let's face it. There's no real democracy on the planet.
It's representative. Democracy,
I hate it when people say we have a democracy in America or we have a democracy in England. Not really, do we, though? I mean, just like there's no such thing as a true communist nation. Do you know when people say we're capitalist? There's no such thing as a true capitalist. Do you know why? Because a true capitalist nation wouldn't work.
Right.
It would fail. I love all those people. I was having an argument with someone about this about a month ago, and they was like, "No, I believe in a proper capitalist nation." I was like, "Oh, so you want to pay for the police to visit you every time something goes wrong?" He's like, what are you on about? I was like, oh, so
there's a Fry and Laurie sketch about that.
So, like, every time you have a fire in your house, you want to pay the fire department to come and put it out. Is that what you talk?
They tried that. You know what happened? The fire department started fires to get money.
And you know what else happened? Do you know if a fire starts in your house and you aren't paying for the fire?
Your neighbors are screwed.
Basically, that's what had happened. The fire would spread onto other people's properties.
Yeah.
So someone else would have to pay for it.
And then they'd have to come and... So it's basically a way to cheat people out of money. Because then, I'll come and put out their house, but then yours can go fuck because you're not paying.
Right.
And this dude I was talking to was like, what are you on about? I was like, well, that's what a capitalist society is. You have to pay for everything.
Yes.
We run on a socialist...
it's a mix.
Yeah, it's a socialist agenda when it comes to all the government, health
necessities.
Yes, the necessities are run on a social.
On the plus side, there's no taxes, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but for the most part, it's all run on a socialist.
I guess how does the army work in a capitalist society? How does civil defense?
Yeah, that's
weird.
Yeah. Ooh.
But it's just I was trying to explain to it. I was like,
I guess from you have to pay, for your license to use the Queen's Road, and that money goes towards the army.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's one way to see it.
It was just interesting trying to convince this guy. Like, no, we run it on a socialist basis, not a capitalist.
How dare you? Socialism is like a dirty word here sometimes.
Yeah, people. Yeah.
Why?
That word.
A lot of socialism makes complete sense.
Yeah.
For example, America, get with it. Socialist medical care
Yeah,
is the way
like
to
the
go.
rest of the world, like everyone has it.
Every other civilized nation on the planet has socialist medical systems. You're the only one who doesn't.
I don't want my tax dollars going to keep filthy immigrants alive.
Do you know what's actually said about that? People say that shit.
It's a quote.
Yeah, it's true, though. That's why he says it.
That's what. It's not. Oh, it's so sad.
Because they're not human. They don't deserve to live,
exactly.
They're not American.
They're less than American, which is less than human.
It's funny listening to America. It doesn't work. Socialist medical. Look at Germany. They have the best social medical kit on the planet.
Yeah.
By far.
That's why they fly everyone when they get
I think like Switzerland is one of the only other countries that comes close to Germany in terms of medical care. And that's socialist. I don't know why it's become such a dirty word, socialist.
I don't know. It's just, some people really resent that.
It's a sign of weakness.
Yeah,
helping the weak is a sign of weakness.
I
shouldn't have to help
others. They didn't
others.
earn it.
Yeah.
You gotta earn everything.
But then you know for a fact it's them same motherfuckers who take a handout when they need it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think
Shar was also the reason Shar and I were having that politics conversation. I can't remember why, but he was talking about the idea of like a guaranteed income.
Yes.
Like, because it helped. Theoretically, it would promote creativity, because like artists technically don't have to work because they make their guaranteed income and they can then do it all the time with art. But I don't think it would work, because inflation would just mean that all the companies would charge X dollars. So then, since you have government mandated costs on things, I don't know how it works.
Similar to how a pure communist society works. So every job would pay the same.
A little bit.
Every job would pay the same.
Yeah.
So
it is a little different, but yes, it's
similar. I mean, or in communist society, or a farmer would get paid the same as a doctor. That's why communist societies don't work, because no one would want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if you can earn the same money being a waiter, then why would you take 5 years of school?
Yeah.
There would be some people, but not.
Yeah,
but exactly.
It's like the implication that every doctor in the world does it to save people, bullshit. It's just not true.
Totally. Why do the lawyers do it?
Yeah, money.
Why do any of them?
Don't care about justice.
I just like arguing a lot.
Lawyers have one of the most. If you look at everyone who is a lawyer and you took the level of psychopaths included. In being a lawyer is way higher than most professions, especially defense lawyers.
I know it's low in accountants.
Yes, well, yeah, but defense lawyers have a huge spike in psychopathic tendencies
because they're very utilitarian.
Well, because they have to defend rapists and murderers,
right,
and then go home and act like nothing happened.
Emotional disassociation type thing,
which is very hard for most people.
But not psychopaths by definition.
Well, that's the thing. The word psychopath is a very dirty word, but many people.
It definitely sounds a lot worse than it technically is.
Yeah. I mean, sociopath is slightly different, but psychopaths is just something that happens to some people, and most psychopaths don't murder.
A functioning psychopath.
Exactly.
Most psychopaths go into being lawyers and stuff like that, and they're completely fine human beings. You know?
Meter maids.
Yeah,
definitely. Fuck those motherfuckers.
Goddamn meter maids.
Fucking, but yeah, like most psychopaths don't go out and murder people. They just don't really.
They move to America first and then do it.
Yeah,
where they can get guns easily.
Yep.
We just had a shooting like today, I think.
It was funny. Like, you didn't.
I mean, it's Friday, right?
Oh, God. Like, do you know what's funny? Whenever Americans go, nothing would change if we didn't have guns, it'd still happen. Well, look at Japan. Japan actually have similar gun laws to America. Not so.
Do they?
Yes. And there's barely any fucking school shootings in Japan. I love how, like, in Australia.
I'm not a professional or any qualified to have an opinion, but to me it seems like it's the media's fault.
Yeah.
Because they're easy to blame.
Yeah.
I know that that's a joke, but you're not far off.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's true.
The media, in some way, is always to blame.
Eddie Izzard? I was watching somebody stand up in San Francisco. Yeah, I think it's Eddie Izzard. And he had a really good bit about gun control. You know, it's like you say the gun wouldn't help, but you say taking the gun away wouldn't stop. But I say it would help a bit. Like, if I walk around saying bang at people, they're not gonna fall over. I say, come over here so I can stab you, you know? It really makes, it's a little higher barrier for entry when you take away the guns from people.
Yeah. Jim Jeffries had a good thing about gun control as well. He was like, if you have a gun in America, where do you keep it? I'm guessing in plain sight, and then people go, no, I'm a responsible gun owner. I keep my gun in a safe. And then you go, why do you keep a gun then? Because in case, someone trespasses or intrudes, I have it protection. It's like, they're mutually exclusive. You can't keep it in a safe and also have it to protect you.
To protect you, because what if you can't get to it?
Yeah, what burglar comes into your house and you go, wait a minute,
hold on,
wait a fucking minute, and I'll be right back.
Yeah,
like it just.
I mean, it's all about. There's also so many accidents. Like, it's not even like shooting sprees aside. There's accidents. Yeah. Like the baby who accidentally shot her grandma. You know, oh man, if that grandma had been packing, this whole thing would have been avoided, right?
Yeah. No.
My favorite thing about the Jim Jeffries thing is like, what delusional world do you live in where you always have your gun on you and you're always ready to...
Mad Max world.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like, what world do you live in where you always need to have a gun on you?
Like, it's weird because I'm really anti like government control. Like, I really wish everyone could have a gun and it would be fine. But as much as I don't love the government too much, I distrust people a heck of a lot more. Random people.
What's that called when you want smaller government? Libertarian.
Yes, it is. I'm not. I don't think I'm I wouldn't say I'm libertarian, but
that's
definitely is.
Yes, that's got a dirty connotation towards it as well. Libertarianism.
I think a bit. Yeah.
A lot of people don't like libertarianism.
It's like a step towards anarchy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously a lot of people think that governments are our way forward. You know, we need larger government. We need
New World Order, man.
Yeah. We are the people.
But I watch Pendulet's
at a tangent.
Sometimes I sit there and watch Pendulet's interviews. Because he's just such a very smart person.
He's fairly articulate. I've been to conventions. So I used to go to a skeptics convention in Las Vegas every year. I went for a few years. And he'd throw a bacon and donut party where he played guitar in his No God band.
Oh, really?
It's pretty fun. He's a really nice guy.
I love how he's very respectful of religion as well.
He can be.
Well,
not always.
No, but do you know when he's talking seriously?
Oh, sure.
He's very...
Not sensationalisty.
Actually, no. I'm more say he's more respectful to spirituality more than religion, let's say.
Oh, sure.
So he's fully... respectful of the fact that you can have a belief and you're free to believe that.
But the institution itself
it's a similar reason. It's a similar problem that Stephen Fry and people like that have, and I too have. Sure. Religion as a whole, for the longest time, has been perpetuating, scaremongering people into paying.
It's capitalism.
Yeah, I mean, organized religion has
buying pardons.
It basically uses faith for profit is basically what organized religion is.
Sure.
I have no problem with people believing in God. I think it's idiotic. I don't have anything against it, though. I mean, I think it's completely human to believe in God. Let me just say that. But I can't help but think it's stupid because that's just the way I work in my head. I can't help but... Because I've actually tried to sit here and try and believe in God. Do you know, to try... Maybe, let's think about this. Is there a God? And I've sat there, and I just can't help but coming out of that and thinking, no, it's idiotic. And I know that's a flaw of mine, but I can't help but think.
It's actually one of the reasons... So Stephen Colbert is a very popular personality.
He's one of the reasons from The Daily Show, right?
Yes, but I think he's... The Colbert Report, I'd say, was bigger than The Daily Show before Colbert left. But I stopped watching him because multiple times, I saw him use Pascal's wager, which... is a deeply flawed argument where basically you have a 2x2 grid. It's like, if I believe in God and he exists, I go to heaven. If I believe in God and he doesn't exist, I'm no worse off. If I don't believe in God and he exists, I'm screwed to go to hell. If I don't believe in God and he doesn't exist, I'm worse off. Therefore, I should believe in God logically, because the worst that can happen to me is nothing bad, and the best that can happen to me is the good thing. That's flawed because you have to pick the right God.
Yeah, that's true. There's more than one.
There's a lot more than one.
Yeah.
There's thousands.
There's thousands.
Exactly.
It's called Pascal's roulette. Is what it should actually be called, because it's like No.
It's like
it's
only
no.
like 2% of human beings
What did you
actually
say?
get to go to heaven.
Well, so Stephen
chose the right
Colbert.
God.
Even.
Stephen Colbert.
So Stephen Colbert is legit religious.
No, but did he leave the Colbert Report? Did you say?
Yeah, he has his own show now.
He has his own show.
What called?
I don't know. I haven't watched it.
So it's not called the Colbert Report.
Nope, it's on a different channel too. Let me see. Stephen Colbert's new show is called The Late Show with Stephen Colbert on CBS.
Oh, because I've watched The Daily Show since Jon Stewart left, and although I don't like Trevor Noah as much as Jon Stewart, I think it's definitely still a watchable show.
Okay.
Jon Stewart I love Jon Stewart. I think he is
I generally liked it.
an amazing person. I can remember, do you know Michael Brown? The black man who got choked.
Yes, sorry.
And,
yes, I should know that name, shouldn't I?
And why? Why should you know that name?
This is the riots.
Oh, I suppose.
Yeah.
Basically, if anyone who doesn't know the story, if you're not American, then there was a.
If you're you un-American.
There was basically a police officer, well, multiple police officers, basically were involved in the death of a black man called Michael Brown, who was he was confronted by the police for selling loosies, and what loosies are single cigarettes. So what people sometimes do in America is they buy a pack of cigarettes and they sell individual cigarettes to people, which is illegal in America. That's not legal. You
have a license to sell tobacco.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even if you do, I don't think you can sell loosies.
No, you can't. You have to sell packets.
Packs.
And basically they confronted him and he was like, I've done nothing wrong. Can you leave me be? Stop. I'm sick of getting harassed by the police. They thought he was being, quote, aggressive. Which
confrontational, aggressive.
And it was filmed, this whole thing, by the way, people.
On phones and
It was filmed, and you could tell the black man was being... That's a horrible wording. You could tell Michael Brown was not being aggressive or he was being quite calm about the situation. He was just quite angry with the fact he was being harassed. Eventually, one of the police officers put him in a chokehold, which is also illegal in America, in most states. But then Hannity came along and said it wasn't a chokehold because he is a martial arts expert. Funny. Can you imagine? Fucking Hannity is a fucking martial... My arse.
Whatever.
He's no Steven Seagal.
But basically, he was put in a chokehold, and unfortunately, Michael Brown was of a obese nature, and unfortunately had asthma, and eventually died. What had then happened was the courts failed to indict the police officer who killed the man, which to a lot of people was very upsetting, including myself. So there was this one show. Everyone likes it when The Daily Show is funny because, Jon Stewart's quite a funny guy. But there was this one scene where he was talking about this whole thing with Michael Brown, and it was one of the most emotional things I've seen on TV. It was incredible, though. There's this whole thing, this saying in comedy, comedy is tragedy plus time.
Right,
is what people say. And he says, to be honest with you, if comedy is tragedy plus time, I need more fucking time. And he says, but I'd settle for less fucking tragedy, to be honest with you. And it was just a very powerful scene. One of the reasons why I started watching Jon Stewart was because of that.
I can never help but do the math on those kinds of things. So if I subtract tragedy from comedy, I get more time.
But it's not far off when you think about it.
Right. Yes, totally. Like that's the whole point of too soon.
Yeah, the bigger the tragedy, the more time you need to leave to be funny.
Hindenburg's fair game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Titanic, totally fair game.
I think 9/11's fair game now.
Fair game now, yeah, pretty much.
It's hard to say, because I was watching Skins, and the episode with the 9/11 musical was hilarious, but I'm pretty sure a lot of Americans wouldn't think so. But I had that song stuck in my head for so long.
It's been 15
and then
years.
Came the day Osama blew us away. It's just like, oh god, so
fuck.
bad.
It's been nearly 15 years. I mean, we get it. It was a tragedy, but I don't believe I've said this in the past, and I'll say it again. I don't believe there is anything on this planet you shouldn't be able to joke about.
There was Paul F. Tompkins, a current stand-up comedian who I quite like. I think again on Big Think this week had a thing about that. yeah, basically he says, like, you just gotta, he thinks most audiences are intelligent enough that if you've done your homework, you can make a joke about anything. If you phrase it well, and they can tell you're coming from a place of comedy, then most audiences will be on board with you. But there's a lot of comics who don't do the homework, and it's just perceived as coming from a place of hate or insensitivity.
Yeah.
Who's this?
Paul F. Tompkins.
I need to watch that later. Oh, yeah, I know him.
Yeah, he's good. He's funny. Funny guy. Yeah, it's comedy. You're a funny guy.
Big Think. You sure it's on the Big Thing? Nope.
Sorry. I thought so. I mean, I don't know what other channel I'm subscribed to on YouTube that it would be.
In comedy, nothing is off limits. BigThing.com, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I got memory. There's one other point I was going. Oh yeah, speaking of Penn Jillette, I can't remember if I mentioned this last week, but there was an article I read. So the CEO of, is it Gearbox or 2K? I don't remember which one. I've seen him the past 2 years at PAX give his talks on the panels, and every year he does a magic trick. So apparently he and Penn Jillette did something, and it's this really cool article in Ars Technica about the overlap between performing magic and video game design, specifically in the realm of virtual reality. Because like the biggest thing about performing magic is direction, or more importantly, misdirection. Yes. Yeah. And so doing that in virtual reality could be really cool. And the Gearbox CEO guy was saying that they've invested tons and tons of money into cloud computing with the goal. He didn't really say, like, if they're close or whatever, like, I wouldn't hold my breath. But the goal is to have essentially purely dynamic, on-the-fly generated gameplay story. Nothing's pre-computed. Everything is figured out based off of how you interact and behave, and that's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He and Penn Jillette are working on a virtual reality version of Desert Bus.
Oh, no!
Yes, well, because Penn Jillette made Desert Bus. He made the original Desert Bus.
Yeah, I remember Desert Bus.
Desert Bus is a game made by Penn Jillette and other people to prove that violent video games don't make people violent. Because Desert Bus does not make people good bus drivers. Desert Bus is a game where you drive for 8 hours between Las Vegas and some other place. It's like some famous, really long, really boring highway. So basically, Desert Bus is you driving a bus. It goes forward. It drifts. So you can't just you can't just sit back with your hands and let it drive. You have to constantly adjust the bus so you don't go off the road. Every single lap you make is 1 point. And it takes 8 hours, real time. Making the drive.
Real time,
1 point.
To point B. 1 point, yes.
1 point per 8 hours.
Yes.
Yes.
Assuming you don't crash.
If you,
I think the record's like 8 points or something.
What's the point of this game then?
It's to driving simulation.
It's a driving simulator, and it doesn't make you a good driver. No. Like, realistic video games are boring.
Yeah, yeah, they are.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's the problem with that new. I hate realism in video. It's not realistic enough. Who gives a fuck?
Good.
The worst thing is when people play a fantasy game and use that bullshit.
That's dumb.
Oh yeah.
This isn't realistic. It's fucking dwarves and elves. Of course, it's not fucking realistic. Shut up. Oh god. kill yourself. Shut up.
Yeah.
I get into so. Have you ever said something that is okay within your friend group, but when you say it to an unacquainted person, it doesn't go down very well.
Oh, yeah.
So a common thing with me and my friends is if you say something stupid, that everyone thinks is stupid, say, "Oh, kill yourself." Just like very lightheartedly. We don't mean it. We're not like, "Oh, fucking kill you." Just like, "Oh, kill yourself, mate." But then I said that at university once, like a couple of years ago, and someone I said it to went nuts. Like, God, can't tell me to kill myself. I'm like, mate, it's a joke. Calm down. It's fine. It's a joke. Jesus. Why? I hate it. I hate being comfortable. Do you know when you get comfortable with something and then you're put in a situation where you shouldn't be comfortable because the comfortable will get you in trouble?
Yeah, this sometimes happens.
I don't really have any of those. I'm generally pretty... neurotic about that, I think.
Yeah.
It doesn't really happen as much in England because we're all
I removed retarded from my vernacular. And
you see, I use that word all the time, and I probably shouldn't, but I do. But like, it's because in England people don't tend to get as pissy as people do in other countries because everyone over here is an arsehole.
Compared to here, anyway.
Everyone over here is an arsehole, and we just kind of know that. So you just kind of that's why swearing is so prominent in English comedy. And if you're watching it, if you compare any American comic to any British comic, the amount of swearing disparity between the two.
I guess any successful comic.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, you take the most popular comedian in England, which is probably Frankie Boyle or someone like that nature, and then you take Louis C.K., who is probably, or Kevin Hart, who is the two biggest in America at the minute.
Current at the second.
I mean, Kevin Hart uses the N-word a lot, but he doesn't swear a lot. Generally.
Right.
You take Frankie Boyle, he's offensive as fuck, right? Jimmy Carr swears a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's just the thing. In England, and not just in English comedy, but in English TV shows, swearing's way more
That reminds me, I want to do 2 shout-outs before I forget for TV shows, or web shows that came out this week. The first one is called The Wizard of Oz. It's an Australian show, 6 episodes, 15 minutes an episode. I was watching the behind the scenes, and he was talking about how, like, the government, I guess, commissioned him to make this show or something. And, like, could you maybe cut out some of the swearing? Like, actually, we quite like the swearing. Like, all right, you cunts, just go ahead and do it anyway. Like, because it's Australian, so they just say, it's very...
Well, is that part of the show? What's the show about?
This show is about, basically, picture Gandalf, and he's fed up with Middle-earth because, like, every day there's some dragon attacking and whatever bullshit going on. So he's like, I'm so done with this place. And so he comes to live in Melbourne, Australia.
Oh.
And he tries to live a normal life without magic.
So the Australian wanted less swearing?
They did.
Why? Australians normally don't give a fuck about that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, and it worked its way into the show because, like, when in the first episode, he's doing a TV interview and he's like, yeah, where I'm from, swearing's not really like a thing. Because if you say, from the gibbage, boom, this explosion occurs, like, that can happen. So, like, swear words aren't really a thing because there's so much more dangerous words to use.
Yeah.
And then the second shout out is Great Minds aired, I think, today. It's a history channel, so it's on TV, but you can watch it on YouTube. It's Dan Harmon's new show. Dan Harmon is the co-creator of Rick and Morty.
Okay.
And basically each week he uses his machine to suck somebody from the past and interact with them. So this week was Jack Black playing Beethoven.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Friggin' hilarious. It's not as good as Rick and Morty yet. It's only one episode, but
sounds like a good idea.
Is it animated or?
Nope, live action.
Oh wow.
Dan Harmon plays himself. Jack Black plays Beethoven.
That's kind of cool.
And by the way, are you sure it's not pronounced The Wizard of Oz?
It could be.
Because if it's, Australians.
Yeah, that hadn't occurred to me.
We call them Aussies. We call them Aussies.
Aussie. I see.
Yeah, Australians are called Aussies over here.
I see. I picked up a new Australian phrase. They say, "G'day, matey potato." I hadn't heard the matey potato. They love their rhymes.
Good day is
good day, obviously, and mate.
Yeah, mate's normal.
Maybe it's just a
I don't really think about that because mate is usually I define as an English term of endearment more than anything. But
I think of it mostly as Australian. But
well, actually, in England, it can be used as a term of endearment, or it can be used quite aggressively.
Right, it's like buddy or pal here.
Yes, it's like, all right, mate. What are you saying?
There's a whole South Park thing about it. Like, we're the Canadians.
Oh, yeah. I'm not your buddy,
guy. Friend. I'm not your friend,
pal. Oh, God. No, Australians don't really care about swearing. I'm surprised that they wanted to take the swearing out.
Yeah.
I like swearing.
I think it's like Flight of the Conchords has no swearing, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I just like swearing. Because I hate.
I like not swearing.
What do you mean?
Horse feathers.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You son of a motherless goat. Your toadstools and...
There's this spoken word artist in England. It's called Scroobius Pip.
I like that name.
And I think we've talked about this off of the podcast before.
Possibly.
Basically,
you mentioned it. Yes.
Yeah, he has a song called "The Introduction."
Okay.
And he in one of the lyrics in it is you give them power when you cower, man. It's so absurd.
Right, you did say this last week on or off the podcast.
No, I don't think it was last. Was it last week?
I've heard it before. Yes. So I remember that being really cool.
But so basically he's saying the only reason swear words are so scared, like people scared of swear words per se, is because people go on about it too much. Yeah. If no one cared, then they just become words, and no one would care about the use of them. You need to listen to that song, Phil. I think you really like it. One of my favorite lyrics in that song is, "You see a mouse trap, I see free cheese and a fucking challenge." I thought, it's brilliant lyricism.
Never mind the Buzzcocks is not a current show anymore, right?
No, it's finished last season, I believe.
Okay, because it sounds like I should look the episode up with him on it, but it's not going to happen.
Really?
Unless he's been on it. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Let me have a look.
They have most people on them, so I'd look for him on it.
Never mind the Buzzcocks.
I haven't watched Buzzcocks in quite a while.
That's because it got shit.
Oh, did it really? Did they lose one of the... What happened? What changed?
It all kind of went downhill when Simon Amstel stopped being the host.
Oh, when they had a different host each week kind of thing?
It just kind of didn't...
It was okay.
Sometimes the hosts were good, like when Frankie Boyle was hosting, that was good.
Or Richard Ayoade.
Most of them were just kind of shit.
Okay, fair enough. And do any of you have any points to bring up? Because otherwise I think I'm going to start wrapping it up here, the 2-hour mark.
All I know is that Scroobius Pip hasn't been on.
Pity.
I still need to see Deadpool.
I was going to see Deadpool last Sunday, but I'm theoretically going to see it tomorrow.
I've seen it.
The problem is my wife is like, you should wait for me to see it if you love me. It's like, oh, god dang it.
Mate, it is so good.
I hear it's good, so I'm probably going to try to see it tomorrow.
I can't listen to that. I'm sorry. I understand. Nobody I've talked to has not liked the movie, but I've also read more Deadpool comics than anybody I know, so I need to reserve. I need to keep my expectations low so I can surpass them.
If Ryan Reynolds was born to do any character,
stop.
It was Deadpool.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
No, like, not saying that he makes a good Deadpool. I'm saying that if Ryan Reynolds was made to play a character, it'd be Deadpool.
So here's let's have a end of the podcast thought, because I was talking about this with somebody else. If they were going to make a Deadpool and Cable movie, who would you want to play Cable? Do you know who Cable is?
I know-ish.
He uses a gun as well, right? And he has
a lot of... He kind of has like all the powers.
Does he have like a laser eye thing or something?
Laser eye, yeah.
He's in Marvel vs. Capcom too.
Aw, yeah.
So I remember him from that. But yeah, I don't know who.
Some people are saying Ron Perlman. Some people are saying John Hamm.
Oh no, it's got to be Idris Elba.
But he's black. You can't have a black guy playing a white role, unlike white guys playing black roles.
Yeah, I don't know who would play him. I'm not very familiar with the character.
Do you guys know Stephen King, The Dark Tower series of books? Have you heard of it?
Yes.
I heard a rumor, probably a very vague rumor, that Idris Elba was tapped to play the main character of Roland.
Oh, interesting.
The gunslinger, which would be super badass.
I love Idris Elba.
Yes.
He's incredible.
Did you see him in Ghost Rider 2 when he wasn't incredible? That's fine.
Oh god, that movie.
See, this is what I liked.
Very extra character.
That's why I liked. I was hoping I'd like Deadpool because I love Ryan Reynolds. Always have. He's always been one of my favorite people. Just because I love his cockiness. Like he fits it so well. That's why I think
it's a very American.
That's why I think. That's why I think he suits Deadpool well, because it seems like he's just being himself.
You can't get Deadpool down.
No.
Do you know when you can feel like an actor is not trying too hard to become the character?
The thing, they're just doing it. Yeah.
That's when it's good. And that's what I felt like.
Like when like any Bill Murray character.
Yeah, pretty much. He's just playing himself.
The more an actor can just play themselves, the better it usually turns out to be.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think you'll like it, Phil. I think you will.
I think I will too.
I never knew how he got his name.
I really don't want to not.
I never knew how he got his name until this film.
Oh.
I read when I was younger. I did read some Deadpool comics, but I couldn't remember anything about them. I read Spider-Man and Deadpool. They're the only comics I read. And
I'll have to see it, but I'm concerned about too much time being spent on an origin story, because I really don't want to watch the Wade Wilson movie. I want to watch the Deadpool movie. I'm very weary of origin stories.
I like how they did the origin story in it.
Okay.
So, yeah. I mean, but you've read the comics, so maybe I'm completely wrong, and
I mean, honestly, they don't have to be true to the comics. It just has to be in the same spirit of the comics.
Yeah.
Alright, okay.
Okay. Well, we're wrapping up here. This was episode 38. Where can you guys be found? Starting with Nathan.
Twitch.tv/Coddy12. Then Twitter, I believe. CoddiGaming. I should get more active on Twitter.
I don't think I follow you. Or maybe I do and you're just not active.
I should get... I haven't used it because I've got like 17 followers. Like, what's the fucking point? But I think I should make an effort to probably get active on Twitter.
I mean, it's to me, it seems a lot like streaming. You just gotta start using it. No one's gonna notice at first, and eventually, theoretically, it'll start trickling in.
Exactly. I found that when I started using Twitter.
Gotta get using hashtags aggressively.
Yeah, hashtags. Yeah.
Aggressively.
Where can you be found, Jordan?
I can be found on YouTube with my cryptic name, 8-Bit
You've
Jordy.
been much more active lately.
Yeah, and Twitter, of course. I'm probably going to have another video tomorrow, Final Fantasy.
Awesome.
So I'll be doing that. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. And yeah, I'm Foehamner on YouTube and Twitter, also other places, but that's the only places really worth checking out. So yeah, that concludes 38. Theoretically, Shar will be back next week, but we said that last week, so who knows. He's a very good excuse, again.
Yeah.
Lots of things to talk about.
Of course.
Cool. See you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye.